Pointed toward me.
It's not, you goof. I mean, it is, but it's because this doesn't need to be in it.
You're pulling toward the buff shirt now, Abby.
I am Paul. This is Justin, and we are doing a Batman episode.
Let's tell it to him straight. This is the third goddamn time we've tried.
No, this one is second. There was another idea that was third.
God damn it. We lost all the footage. That's why you're seeing it now instead of a month ago when it was supposed to come out.
But it's actually good timing because Batman is now streaming on HBO Max already. So in honor of that, we are doing
the ranking again
of the live action Batman films. Now,
I wanted to do theatrical.
There's tons of ideas we can do with your animated Batman stuff. Okay? Calm down. But let's so there's 11 films, well, if you count Justice League.
Yeah, I counted them.
I didn't because I just labeled them as both because it was 95% the same damn film. Except longer.
Am I missing one?
Justice League. No, you got Batman and Robin. You got the four.
Oh, I am missing one. Never
one?
mind. I got it. Don't worry.
Okay, so let's basically to make this real quick because our 11 is the same.
Well, no, it's not because I'm missing one. Just what's your bottom one?
Okay, but
well, I'll kick things off.
Go ahead.
My bottom of the list one is Batman vs Superman.
Oh yeah, how was that on the original? Was that not on your cards to begin with?
No, I forgot to put it on my card. Batman vs Superman is just a bad movie, bad direction. Yeah, you get a brief little fight between the Batman sequence with Ben Affleck is really good, but it's a long fucking road to get there, and it's only about 10 minutes.
Martha!
No, screw that scene. I'm talking when Batman infiltrates where Martha's being held. That was really good.
Yeah, because he did all that training to fight Superman, so he's dripped.
Yeah.
And his punch just knocks you
right. He kills everyone else. The humans have no chance. But that's the only good part of that movie. So bottom of the barrel. Batman vs Superman.
Justice League, both films. I count them as one.
Yeah, I'll combine my 11 and 10 and we'll be good.
Because my 10 is Batman versus Superman as well. But Justice League was a creative cluster of a mess. Everybody was so excited for this idea. And Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon, you count them both. Count them as one. I don't care. It was a horrible CGI mess. And they had great people carrying these characters.
Yeah, I'll talk about that when we get to the side of the fence. But go ahead.
I enjoy Gal Gadot as...
No.
Whatever.
Whatever, it's your fucking name.
I enjoyed her as Wonder Woman.
From now on, we shall call him Nick. He's back to Nick.
Ben Affleck as Batman. Great, he was a great Batman. I didn't even enjoy Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah, I'll say that was a good Superman.
Jason as Aquaman. We ain't gonna mention the one.
No, he's slowly falling off. Hasn't
yeah, my God. But that was it. They couldn't do anything. They just made it a big cluster of a mess. Very disappointing that Batman even had to be in this film. I'll continue on with the next film because Justin already talked about it.
Oh, you're going on to your 10?
Yeah, because just to get out. Batman v Superman. Once again, you had two great characters, two good actors, and you literally dropped the ball. The idea of seeing this comic story come to live screen was a big deal. People wanted to see this. And then you give us the most memorable scene, the great scene of what Justin was describing, but then the horrible scene of Martha. Why'd you say that name? Martha.
They're like, well, how else would he have said it? He could have just said mom, and it would have still had the same effect.
Yeah, can you go save my mom?
It would have had the same effect.
You know, it didn't have to be Martha. And honestly, even to that point, I never noticed that they were both named Martha.
I don't think they were both named Martha. I think they were only both named Martha in this movie.
Well, no, his mom, Batman's mom, was Martha.
Was it Martha?
Yeah, I don't know about...
No, I'm sorry. She's only in the Batman universe to die.
Truly, like...
Except for the one universe where she becomes Joker.
But even his dad had more of a role in the legacy of the universe than she did. She was just there. Though, the Batman gave her a good story.
Yeah.
Being Arkham.
Yeah.
But that's whatever. But, yeah, these two films were just brutal.
Well, my 11 and 10... my 11 is Justice League, my 10 is Zack Snyder's Justice League. The regular Justice League is fine. Like, I can watch it. It's whatever. No, my complaint... I have no complaints about the actors.
Yeah.
The actors are spot on. Just what they're given is dumb. And no, I'm not watching Zack Snyder's Justice League. You're not gonna...
You didn't watch it?
No! I'm not watching it. 4 hours of a movie I thought was bland.
This is our job!
More Cyborg. Give me more of a character I didn't care for in the comics.
I forgot about Cyborg. I appreciated that too.
I didn't even like Cyborg in the animated shows or the comics. Why would I care for him in the movies? Just 4 hours of a bland movie. Maybe Zack Snyder was not the best choice to direct a superhero movie.
Or lead the way. That's honestly where you get at leading the way.
The Superman movie was okay. Batman vs. Superman was a bust. Let's bring him in for Justice League. That'll be good.
It wasn't like the Batman vs. Superman film, like, it had to make $1 billion to break even.
Well, it had to be $1 billion because it's Batman vs. Superman. It should be $1 billion.
Yes. I mean, you waited so long for this idea to happen, and they dropped it. Batman from 1966, the Adam West, is my number 9.
I have a whole spill on Batman 66, so we'll wait till we get there.
Which won't be that far.
No, we rotated ours on these two.
Batman in the 60s was what it was. They didn't want to make it dark. They wanted to make it campy. Everybody watched the TV show. This was so brutally goofy and bad, but it was still better. We have it still better than the Justice League and Batman v Superman.
Yeah, we did.
Like, no matter how much... And you were complaining hard about this film.
At least the actors, like the villains mostly, they tried. They really tried.
But you had what it was. It was a campy version of Batman. The shark repellent, the fake graphics. They gave no fucks in this film. And they were like...
I'll say this for the time being. You could tell the writers didn't like Batman. Like, they just made him they made this shit a complete joke.
Like, there's nothing against the actors in the film. They created their version of the film. And this will be one of the films that you'll watch and you're just like, what were they thinking?
You either hate it or you're on drugs.
Yeah. But that's my number 9.
My number 9 is here because of what they did. Batman and Robin. If anyone has had the displeasure of following me for long enough, realize one of my favorite characters in all of fiction is Poison Ivy.
You wouldn't know because he's not wearing the shirt.
I'll wear it next week when we do Spawn.
But go on.
You would have to. Like, I've done lists where it's like, what the best comic book characters, what comic book characters needs a movie, what character needs a fucking movie. Poison Ivy's always top of the list. But this movie, I feel, has made it next to impossible to bring any of these characters back, really. Like, we haven't seen Freeze come back. We've seen him in movies, or video games and everything. We've seen Ivy in video games. I don't think we're getting Poison Ivy anytime soon, if ever again. Because we keep going into more grounded reality, and Poison Ivy does not fit into that world, and I blame this movie for it. Because of the shit job they did handling every goddamn character in this movie.
That's probably the most accurate reason why these villains are not coming back.
And it kills me because you can do this with Poison Ivy. We live in a world where one of the biggest arguments is global climate change. And Ivy is right there. But the only thing I liked in Batman vs. Robin is Bane's mask.
That was like the most comic book accurate mask.
The character sucked, but the mask looked good.
He was more of a henchman in that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And that was
the problem. He was a henchman.
He was, and he's not, and he is his own villain. He doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's.
Your number 8 is Batman and Robin as well. So you want to add anything to that?
Just basically, the Joel Schumacher version of Batman was just a disaster for me. The bat nips, the ice skates in their shoes, the stupid ass credit card. I don't have a personal problem against George Clooney or.
I have a problem with him in this movie.
I mean, it's just
he phoned it in the most. I think, like at least like Schwarzenegger, Thurman, Chris O'Donnell, they tried to do something with this.
And besides,
George was just there.
Yeah, he was just like, I'll this was one of those ones where he's like, I'll try a comic book movie just to see what's going on. The problem was just not that type of effort, but also everything else.
Yeah.
Just made it beyond horrible. And that's why it's my number 8. I'm not saying obviously it's not the worst Batman film in my eyes, but there was potential to do so much more. Of course, you with your Poison Ivy character, Bane being a henchman, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, she was eaten by her plant. She controls fucking plants. How's she being eaten by her goddamn plant?
Even like the Batgirl character.
Yeah.
Felt rushed.
Yeah.
It like that needed some good time to build up. And I didn't have a problem with Sarah Silverman. Is that?
No, I can't possibly be right.
No, double check. I get. But still, like the Batgirl. I mean, I get sense of introducing her because this was the 4th film. Alicia Silverman.
Alicia Silverman, yes.
This was
not Sarah Silverman. I did that. That is not.
It may, but the idea that she was such
Alicia Silverstone.
Silverstone, okay. It just felt like her character was just thrown in there because they were like, let's just throw everything in there.
That's Alfred's niece with no accent.
Yeah. So Joel just wanted to put this film together and put it together, and it shows.
The studio wanted action figures in the new Batmobile.
I don't think putting nipples on a fucking bat suit.
Well, yeah, I mean, he did that in Forever, though, so that was just carry over.
But Forever was a better quality. Yeah. I mean, not much, but...
Well, we'll get into it.
But
my number 8 is Batman 66. I'm going to read you an excerpt from Batman 66.
Here we go.
Pretty fishy what happened to me on that ladder. You mean where there's a fish, there could be a penguin? But wait, it happened at sea. C's for Catwoman. Exploding shark was pulling my leg. The Joker. It all adds up to a sinister riddle. Riddler. And that was when my brain just went out for lunch. It was done. That was done. There was an animal sacrificed himself to save Batman. What is this movie? Like, at one point, you actually have a scene between Batman and Robin. They are debating about whether or not the people at the bar were worthy of being saved because they were drinking. The only 2 people at the bar when he ran out with the bomb were 2 people eating crabs, lobster. They weren't drinking. They were just at the restaurant because the bar was a bar restaurant. What is this fucking movie? C is for Catwoman.
C is
You actually had like a bird with a machine gun. And what is this movie? They just say words.
Oh.
And they're like, here's a movie. Deal with it. It's wordy.
Oh my god.
We couldn't put Mask of the Phantasm on this list, but we got C's for Catwoman.
And it's not even the letter C, it's the fucking ocean. Okay, my
like
number...
I said, you didn't like it or you're on drugs. That's...
It came out in 66, so you had to
Canary with the machine gun. That was one of the riddles.
Okay, my number 7 is Batman Forever. Joel Schumacher came in after Tim Burton and Michael Keaton has left the film series. Of course, a new director, 2 films in, is going to kind of change it.
Well, they wanted to go into a kid-friendly direction.
Yeah,
Batman Returns, or the Batman Returns, yes.
Yeah, because Batman Returns was fucking dark.
Yeah.
Really dark. So, okay, I get it. You wanted to make it lighter. But they didn't have to make it almost a joke. And in this film, you did introduce the Riddler, Jim Carrey. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. And the only Harvey Dent that we actually got was in Batman with a quick cameo, and he showed up. Oh, this is our DA Harvey Dent.
I'll say this about this movie: if you think about it, Batman is sitting in the courtroom as Batman when he gets the coffee thrown in his face. Why is Batman sitting in the courtroom?
The story was good. I mean, they had a lot of elements to make this film better.
I heard there was supposed to be a director's cut out there that's longer, that really dives deeper into Bruce Wayne, in terms of more psychological kind of deal.
I'm sure there's when they make movies, they always film additional scenes anyway.
Yeah.
Whether they put them together or finish them is a different story. But this gave us the first version of the Bat Nips. Why?
I didn't notice it until someone pointed it out. I'm not looking at his nipples.
Everybody pointed that out.
I didn't notice it.
It was stupid. I did enjoy the Robin introduction, getting Robin in the series. Chris...
I'm pointing out flaws, and we haven't even gotten to where mine is on my list.
Yeah, it was a direction that was probably... The lighter tone was probably... It was just too... It was becoming too goofy. For me to put it any higher.
You don't like the karate laundry going on?
Correct. So that's my number 7, Batman Forever.
My number 7 is The Dark Knight Rises. This is a bad movie. A bad follow-up to a great movie. I didn't like their Bane. I didn't like the direction they went into. They had so many plot holes in this movie that it falls the fuck apart.
The back...
The broken back. Yeah, the broken back is the big one, though. They sent every cop. And in a city that big, there's tens of thousands of cops into the sewers for 6 months. And yet, after 6 months, they're healthy enough to then have a war. How are you trapping them all in a sewer system for 6 months? Anyway, there's thousands of exit points throughout a city that size for them to get out of. Not to mention, why would they send all of the police? He's too broken at the beginning of the movie, as it is, and needs medical equipment to get his knees to work.
And explain the medical equipment that you...
Yeah, oh yeah. No, this wasn't me, this was a Kirby Leach who brought this up. You should check out his channel, it's amazing. But he brought it up, you made it so realistic that you needed this equipment to help him walk. And he kicks a brick wall and doesn't break his foot. And is able to rebound perfectly fine from the broken back. Despite the fact that he's already broken down to begin with. Stop taking the heroes out of these movies. We're here to see the hero, too.
The film is called The Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight should have went back to bed. And not to mention, he had to escape the bomb. Alfred doesn't go over to say hi to him at the end. Of course he's going to go say hi to him at the end. Thought he was dead.
Here's the guy that you basically raised since a kid.
I know, it's you set it up as this big moment. No! The moment falls apart because he's going to go over.
He treated them, they were basically more father and son than butler and master, or whatever how you want to call it.
These are just a little bit of... I'm not picking up my notes for this movie, it's not worth it.
Our number 6 we'll do this together because this
Oh, it's right. We did it. We did.
This is the center point. Batman 1989.
Bang in the middle. It's fine.
Yep.
It's fine.
It's basically where it's at is probably where it deserves to be.
Yeah, in the middle.
Wasn't too dark like Return. Jack Nicholson as the Joker was fine.
We started getting some weird things in this movie. Like, why is he sleeping upside down?
Yeah, with that scene, they literally made him a bat.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's a concept. It's a
He's
metaphor.
not a literal bat.
He's not literally a bat. Definitely was it like when he had Vicky in bed.
Yeah.
A beautiful woman, and he's hanging upside down.
I'm gonna go hang out upside down. This woman's trying to figure out who Batman is. Let me give her a clue.
and she did it.
And like Jack Nicholson is really good, but it's like, is he a really good Joker or is he just crazy? I believe he's just crazy in real life.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where he wasn't acting. He was just like being himself. I could totally see him just pulling out a big fucking long gun out of his pants.
It's shooting someone in the face. Like, I see that and they're like, he's shooting at paparazzi who get in his way. Like, I believe you do this in real.
He probably did at some point. Who knows? Like I said, it wasn't dark. The only thing I didn't really like with the Tim Burton one was the decade time elements. Like, at one point, it seemed like they were in modern day. But
well, that's always Batman, though. Like, you never know what time period Batman's in.
But it was just weird because, like, they had modern day stuff, but then they were driving cars from, like, the 50s. Yeah. I was like, give me one direction.
But to be fair, like, classic cars in the 80s would have been, from that era.
Yeah, but it was like an everyday car, though. That was the weird thing. And you actually kind of see it through this entire series.
But I do like that. You never know what period you're at.
But, I mean, he said, Michael Keaton as Batman, it wasn't up and beyond action. Batman, this series, was just some hand-to-hand fighting, nothing really major.
Well, that's because he couldn't move in that suit.
Yeah. But
he kills people in these movies. Let's go, bro. He kills everyone in these.
But it's where it's at. It's in the middle of the pack.
There's no Batman code.
No, but it's right where it needs to be, and that's our number 6. I'll do my number 5. Batman Begins. So after Batman and Robin, they wanted to reboot the series. I thought this was a good film. Christopher Nolan took over as the reins of directing. He did want to make it more grounded. It was more easy to follow. The Scarecrow
was great.
Bringing the Scarecrow to a grounded series took guts. And the best way they could do is
it worked well, like having that gas. Like, he's a psychologist. He's working with all this gas and stuff.
Yeah, and it really, Scarecrow only is really just a skinny guy, a doctor that puts on a knapsack bag and sprays with gas, but once you inhale that gas, he looks like a scary type of looking Scarecrow. Good touch of finding the right element to a grounded Batman and introducing a supernatural-like villain and keeping that supernatural villain grounded.
I'll say this about Batman Begins. When I went and saw this in theaters, I went as a joke. Because I thought it was going to be bad, because Batman and Robin, I didn't have any cable, so I didn't watch any trailers. So me and my buddy were just out, we saw it playing, we're like, you want to go see Batman? And we're like, yeah, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? This is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody was thinking, after Batman and Robin. And then you get to title Batman Begins. It doesn't really pop out at you that it's going to be, a better movie.
Yeah.
It kind of, almost, the title alone kind of throws you as a joke, yeah, I'm not going this with high expectation. And I think that was part of its success, was that it was good enough to go above people's expectation because Batman and Robin wasn't hard to overcome.
It was the bars on the floor with Batman and Robin.
You're in the basement with Batman and Robin. You just gotta go up
You're in the hole beneath the basement with the bodies.
But, and it's crazy because they did bring up the Batman turning his neck and moving in the next film.
Yeah. But he still had the issues of not being able to move his head in this movie. I appreciate the continued through line.
Yeah. But number 5, Batman Begins.
My number 5 is Batman Returns. This movie could be so much higher if it wasn't so goddamn literal. The Penguin's a mess. Danny DeVito does a great job.
This is
Take
almost
nothing away from him. But he's just like biting fish heads, and it's like, what is this movie?
Well, you had Catwoman cleaning herself by and eating
like,
a bird.
But I'll say this, Michelle Pfeiffer's the best part of this movie. The fact that she's so committed, she's got a real bird in her mouth during those scenes. Like, yeah, you're a badass lady. Oh,
and let's be honest, like on camera we see it as only a couple of seconds, but figure out how many scenes she had to shoot with a bird in her mouth.
She commits fully. I think she's the best part of this movie. We don't get a whole lot of Batman or Bruce Wayne in this movie. He's here sometimes. But
in the movie is Batman Returns.
Except it's the literalness that Burton takes with these characters. It's like it's not. They're not really these animals, and it does drag things down.
And like Catwoman, her name comes from being a cat burglar.
Yeah.
Not cleaning herself like a cat. You know, Penguin doesn't almost nearly look like a penguin. I mean, I get it, they said, well, he has a deformity, but his deformity was literally having...
He has claws and a beak.
Yeah, like... But it, I mean... you know, I'll just run by my opinions on mine, because it's higher up because it's darker.
Like, we're complaining about these movies. I'm complaining about this movie, but this is a good movie. I might watch it again. I don't know. But it's number 5. Whatever.
My number 4 is The Dark Knight Rises. Now, get it, Justin pointed out the plot holes. But when it comes to a third film, I thought it was probably better than most third films.
Oh, you are.
I did enjoy...
I wouldn't even rank this top 10.
I did enjoy Tom Hardy's performance as Bane.
He was really good as a character. I wouldn't call him Bane.
Get it, the Jamaican mask voice thing was a miss.
That's not even just the voice for me. It's a lot of things with him that I didn't care for.
I thought it was was it a great ending to the series? Okay, you can say no, but it was good enough to end the series. I know Nolan didn't want to do a 4th film. He wanted just to do a trilogy, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like I said,
well, that's the best for superheroes. Trilogy is a really clean slate. 3, get out.
Yeah, somehow Marvel's finding a way, but the mantles are different.
Yeah, well, when Marvel goes past 3 like they're doing with Thor, they're going past 3 to hand off the hammer to somebody else.
And think about it like that, too. Captain America 4 is going to be...
somebody else.
Yeah, it's going to be the Falcon.
Yeah.
Because if you watch the show. Thor is going off to the Mighty Thor with Jane. So 4s are like a transition film to the next character.
Yeah, how did we get here? Like, we're talking Batman.
Because the trilogy ending. But, I mean, the fights were still there. Like I said, yeah, there was the plot holes, but I think it was just a good ending. Better, could have been better, sure, but just a good ending.
Could have. I think Heath Ledger passing may have hurt him a bit here. I feel like Heath probably had a role here.
I think so, too. There was probably some point the Joker was going to reappear had Heath Ledger survived.
Yeah.
But that's my number 4. Your number 4.
My number 4 is Batman Forever. I like the neon lights. I will not apologize for liking that alley scene. I like that fight. I like it's nostalgia pulling at the floor. This is my first Batman movie I watched. I watched it a lot.
That's I'll say that with mine too, because it was weird how some movies you start watching, you're watching the sequels then before the first film.
Yeah, I recognize all the problems this movie has. It's a fire. Not quite a dumpster fire, but it is on fire.
It's like a room in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Catching on fire in a brick
It's
house.
the start of a fire.
Yeah. My number 3 is Batman Returns. And yeah, we pointed out the issues. But the one thing that I found myself liking it is...
Michelle Pfeiffer.
is the darkness of it. Like, that shit was disturbing. And...
Well, yeah, but we got 2 better dark movies.
Right. The next
that
two are
disturbing without being gross.
I didn't realize our 2s and 1s were the same as well.
Yeah, well, it was always going to be that way.
Yeah. But the return, it was just dark and creepy. I think probably creepy. But I liked it. I really did like it because of its dark and creepy tone. But that's my number 3.
My number 3 is Batman Begins.
And we're only rushing through this because when we talk about them previously, there's no need to keep going.
Well, Batman Begins is this close to being number 2. Because I do think it's better than The Dark Knight. But I have to admit one thing. I don't watch the beginning of this movie anymore. I skip to when Batman gets back to town. I skip all the training stuff up on the hill with the League. I just can't be bothered. Just bring him back to Gotham. I want to watch Batman.
You didn't like the origin?
No, the origin is great. When I watched it the first time.
But not, you can't rewatch
This is repeat watching. I'm jumping to Batman. And if I didn't do that, this would be number 2 instead of number 3.
So our number 2 is The Dark Knight. You want to talk about a sequel that
delivered.
This is it. You did have we talked about with Batman Begins with the whole suit issue. You had them openly knowing. The best scene was he was like, "Will it protect me against big dogs? What kind of big dogs? Like big Rottweilers?" He's like, "Well, this new suit will protect you from like Chihuahuas." They gave him the ability to turn his neck, but they also said, "Hey, that does come with a cost, and that is that there's going to be unprotected parts of your body."
Yeah.
So that they acknowledge that, and that's pretty cool to do because usually they don't. You did have Heath Ledger as the Joker. Probably one of the best performances for a villain.
I would say until this year he was the best.
Yeah, and that's come to number 1. So, but
my number 2 is The Dark Knight, and what can you say that hasn't been said about it already?
Great movie. I mean, it's
the only flaw really is the finale. You blame the death on the Joker. The Batman, this is a bullet Batman doesn't need to take, but you're having him take it anyway because you need him to take it. But
he's the hero. How is the saying? He's the hero we need.
Yeah,
but not want.
You really wanted to do that line, but it doesn't make sense how we got here because you have a bunch of witnesses who saw Harvey doing these crimes.
Not to mention, if I was Commissioner Gordon,
yeah,
I sure as wouldn't defend this guy when he had a gun to my son's head.
Well, they're doing that because it's about hope, and Harvey was hope, and he's down on the ground. You could just say he was killed by one of the Joker's men, and then he still dies a hero.
Yeah.
You could spin whatever story you want, and you're spinning a story anyway.
Yeah, and that's picking, honestly, with how this movie really turned out.
Well, I mean, when you're trying to pick between 2 and 1, you gotta pick.
Yeah. Now let's get to our number 1. Both of our number 1, it would be a no-brainer, is this year's release.
The Batman.
The Batman. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's delivered.
Holy crap.
I saw like the runtime, like 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus. And
that
was watching like this is wonderful. Give me another hour.
and it right, you almost want it more because it's like, they focused on detective skills.
The psychology, Bruce. You see a beaten and battered psychological Bruce.
Yeah.
Who's so frustrated because nothing he's doing is working. And he's still trying to squeeze that circle peg.
Then you also had not only did you have the psychological part with the detective and all that, you still had him deliver his punches.
Yeah.
And
he's being brutal and he's battering them because they're not doing what he wants. So
like
he's just hitting them.
The gang at the train station, man, he's just like pounding him and he's down.
He's like, I'm vengeance, and just pounding him. And then you get it full circle because then you realize that the bad guy used his line against him, and he realizes like, oh no, this is my fault. Paul Dano's the best. His Riddler was
Riddler was definitely like a great performance, a good twist on it, where he was giving you riddles. He was a hint of dark sense of humor,
Yeah.
but he was still so dark about things.
That's like I love the scene with him and Batman in prison, and you see like that mental collapse when he realizes Batman's not his friend.
Yeah.
But then he's quick enough to realize, like, oh, wait a minute, he doesn't know anything at all.
And then like they even throw you a twist, because just when you think that the Riddler knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne,
Nope.
he flips it and goes, "We gotta get Bruce," and you're like, "Oh shit!" He, as smart as he is, as creative as he was with all this, he doesn't know that they're one and the same people. He was just attacking them, and thinking.
Like during that speech too, like you believe him because you know that the Riddler could figure it out.
Right.
But then it's like flip, no, he doesn't know.
You're like, holy crap! It was.
His plan does succeed too. Batman loses in the end because the dam breaks.
Yeah. And that grows. You even talked about in the old footage of us talking about this, the details that Bruce Wayne, the sunken shoulders.
Yeah.
The details on that was so credible for somebody who basically, he's keeping a journal.
Yeah.
Because his days are all blended.
He is so lost when he does not know how to be Bruce. When he's out of the costume, you see his shoulders are sunk from the weight of the costume. He doesn't know how to socialize and be Bruce anymore because he's so fixated on being Batman. And he's angry because nothing he's doing is working, it's not getting better. And that just loops him back into more anger and loops him back to Batman. And it's like, I have to go harder here, it'll work eventually. But now, going forward, he's like, this is not the right way, and I have to reevaluate how I'm doing everything.
Another good bright spot too is Jeffrey Wright as Gordon,
yeah.
Lieutenant Gordon.
Oh, I loved him in what's that one?
Well, I loved Jeffrey Wright from the Westworld series.
Yeah.
He was, he has that dry, hardcore acting ability. So I was excited to see him. Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Those two worked well. I love the fact that we got more working together between those two.
Yeah, and now that means like, and for me, when they do two, you can kind of see why when Lieutenant Gordon becomes Commissioner Gordon, you kind of see why he trusts Batman.
Yeah.
I do think showing their early days together was a great touch to understand that chemistry.
Yeah, Gordon's bringing him into the crime scene now.
And all the other
just later, like it's live crime scene. He's bringing Batman.
Mind you, because Batman has only been Batman for 2 years. They make that clear.
Yeah.
Like he is a very young Batman. Great film.
Yeah. Oh, we're not even talking about like the Penguin in this movie. Like I'm so interested to see what he's gonna do.
The rise of the Penguin, and they didn't literally make him look like a penguin. They called him the
claws at all because he's just short.
Yeah, and they call him the Penguin because he's the owner of the club that's called the
Iceberg.
Iceberg, yeah. So you're like, okay, see, that's how you come up with the villain's name.
I love the tie-ins with the animated show because I'm the one who pointed out the similarities in the songs.
And that's another thing. The soundtrack's fine, but his entrance when he comes on camera,
it is like, oh fuck.
I love it because with that orchestrated sound, it goes back to my Darth Vader. Like every time he's on the scene or he comes onto the scene, they make that music, and it's like you're feeling his presence.
But we talked about like that scene with the gang, like you hear the footsteps and you hear the song beginning to pick up, and you're thinking. Like, he's gonna drop from the rafters or come swinging in, and like, no, he just comes out like, time to fight, boy.
And like I said, this film delivered. I'm excited.
I really want to see more Catwoman. I really liked her in this movie, but I feel like we need to see more of her.
Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz. She did good. What we saw was really good.
Right. This film...
The Batmobile. We haven't even talked about the Batmobile.
Carl was
you got that revving engine and the glowing light, and the Penguins look like, what is happening?
And that chase scene was very good.
Yeah,
Like, he got excited when he's like, I got you, and there's the fire, and then he just comes out of it.
Well, I love the scenes like the Batmobile could not turn. But the moment he got on the straightaway, like, you're not getting away from him.
Yeah. This is why it's...
Number one.
I
mean, it's like, there's nothing to complain about in this movie.
Not
and it's a 3-hour movie.
3 hours and 4 minutes.
It's just perfect. It's a dark movie that has fun. There's a lot of funny little moments, like with the Riddler talking to his followers online. He had like the thumb drive, and he holds up the thumb drive with a thumb attached to.
Yeah. But that's our list as of right now.
Way too late. We finally got it, hopefully, until Paul messes it up again.
But until next time.